Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, alhamdulillah. So please forgive me, my voice is a little hoarse. I'm not coughing as much, but my throat is healing, inshallah. So keep me in your dua. May Allah Ta'ala give all of you health and well-being. We're only going to spend about 10-15 minutes reading from the Key to the Garden on tafakkur. And then after that, we're going to take a silent meditation walk to the lake. Who's been to the lake? Okay. All right. Maybe about a half to 2/3 of you. Absolutely no talking during the walk. This is your time to be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your feet touching the earth, to be aware of the birds and the insects, and to be mindful, to be thankful to Allah for the brothers and the sisters who are with you, who are walking with you. And we're going to spend about half an hour, inshallah ta'ala, in a silent reflection and meditation on the signs of Allah ta'ala that are in front of us and that are around us at the lake. Please take a pen and something to write on for two reasons. One, to write down any thoughts that come to your heart or your mind and those are for you. You don't have to share them, those are for you. And then secondly, if you have to communicate, let's say we seek refuge in Allah, you get stung by a bee, you're still not allowed to talk. You have to write down, I've been stung by a bee. No. If there's an emergency, you can talk, but if you need to communicate for some reason, I prefer if you write it down. Okay. Silence is part of tasawwuf. It's part of the spiritual path. And for many of us, we go through the whole day as long as we're around people talking. We're not used to being around people and not talking. And there's going to be a time for all of us when we die, when you're going to want to talk. You'll see people, you'll hear people, and you won't be able to talk to them because you would have gone to another side, another dimension, and they'll still be in this dimension. So inshallah ta'ala. So let's get started immediately with the reading, and then we'll take the silent walk. Are there any questions about the meditation and the walk? The meditation is very simple. I'm not asking you to reflect on anything in particular. Not any ayah or on any of the names of Allah. This is really a meditation on, you'll see if you've been to the lake, the lake is there, the trees are there, there are lots of ants crawling around on the grass that you'll be sitting on, but they don't bite. There's butterflies and bees, and it's all kinds of things. Your assignment is to see each and every creature as an ayah from Allah Ta'ala, as a sign, as information, as data, and your task is to reflect on what it's teaching you. If your heart is awake, you won't have one shaykh, you'll have many shuyukh. The trees will be shuyukh for you, the birds, the bees, the animals will be shuyukh for you, children and the people you're with, everything will be a teacher for you. This glass of water will be a teacher for you. Everything will be a teacher for you if your heart is awake. So that's the goal of this meditation, just to enjoy nature together, to practice being silent for about an hour, and just to take it all in and see what comes to you. And if you feel moved to write something down, maybe you get a great thought that you've never had and you're like, wow, I didn't know I could think things like this, and you write it down so you don't forget. Inshallah ta'ala, do that. I'll tell you. You had a question, Abbas? No. Oh yeah, please, okay. Any cell phones will be confiscated, and I'm going to give them to my daughter because she's been asking me to get her smartphone for a long time. Anyway, please keep your cell phones. Keep your cell phones. Turn them off. Yes. On your cell phone. I prefer if you write. Leave the digital, the plastic, leave it alone, Yes, I know your pen's made of plastic. Yes, I know. But just, try to, yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Sister Whitney, we're starting 30 minutes late. Oh, really? Can they come? Oh, really? Okay. Okay, inshallah. We'll see what we can do. Maybe if you're a parent, maybe you could leave early, Inshallah. Okay, so let's read a little from the book by Habib Ahmed Mashur Haddad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. قال المؤلف رحمه الله نفعنا الله بعلمه وبركاته. The author says, may Allah have mercy on him and benefit us by his knowledge and by his blessedness. We're on page 96, Key to the Garden, page 96. Imam al-Ghazali, may Allah sanctify his secret. This is a prayer. So if you remember, a few days ago I was telling you that the essence of the human being, your most subtle dimension is called by many scholars the secret, the sir. And the Quran is called the lub. So this is what he's making dua for here. May Allah sanctify his secret. He has said, a man who reflects or meditates at length in order to know God and has had, this is your intention, in order to know God, not to lower your blood pressure, not to all the other benefits of meditation, who reflects in order to know God and has had unveiled to him even the minutest portion of the secrets of his kingdom, will find in his heart such joy and bliss in this unveiling that he will almost fly, that he will be amazed at his own steadfastness and firmness. Right? Imam Ghazali he's not being poetic, he's not exaggerating. This is true. When you meditate, when you make tafakkur a discipline, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just gives you a glimpse at the malakuts, there's nothing that will bring you more happiness and more joy than that. And you will understand the worth of this world compared to the next world. And all of the virtues that we are asked to embody in the Sharia, repentance and sincerity and generosity and truthfulness and indifference to the material world, become easier. Because you realize that this world here is just, it's like if you took a 25-year-old and you gave them a choice between driving a Ferrari, a red Ferrari, there's gas in the tank, the keys in the ignition, and you show them a toy Ferrari. You ask them to choose which one they want. It's a no-brainer. Same thing happens when Allah Ta'ala lifts the veil from the heart, from the eye of your heart, and He gives you a glimpse of the malakuts. You see that this world, compared to the unseen world, compared to the hereafter, is like that toy Ferrari compared to the real Ferrari. It's that simple. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Ba'd a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, He says that He showed Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam the malakuts, the kingdom, the heavenly kingdom, in order to make him from amongst those who are certain, yuqinun, so that he will be amongst those who attain certainty. He says, our master, the pole of guidance, Al-Habib Abdullah ibn Alawi al-Haddad, said in his book of assistance. So this is the Shaykh who's wird, litany, we recite in the mornings and the evenings here. He said, and this is from his book, Book of Assistance. If you don't have this book, please go buy it today. Right? It's one of the most important books in the world after the Quran. In fact, if it's the only book you read after the Quran, it will suffice you. And I'm not, the Book of Assistance, Kitabu Mu'awana. It is comprehensive, and it's a proof that Imam Abdullah Haddad was one of the mujaddids, one of the renovators of this ummah. Like I said to one of the sisters before, if you read that book and you go through it chapter by chapter and you don't go from one chapter to another, first read the book all the way through, but read it a second time after that, and don't leave one chapter for another until you're living that chapter. You'll be a different person. Your whole life will have a different texture. You'll be a better person, not just a different person, a better person. So this is what he says, because there's a section on tafakkur in the Book of Assistance. You should have a wird of reflection in every 24 hours, for which you should set aside 1 or more hours. All right? The best time for reflection is the one which contains the fewest preoccupations and worries, and the most potential for the heart to be present, such as the depths of the night. Know that the state of one's religious and worldly affairs depends upon the soundness of one's meditation. Anyone who has a share of it has an abundant share of everything good. It has been said, an hour's meditation is better than a year of worship. Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah honor his face, has said, there is no worship like meditation. And one of the Gnostics said, reflection, meditation is the lamp of the heart. If it departs from the heart, the heart will have no light. The ways of reflection are many. One, which is the most noble of them, is to reflect on the wonders of God's dazzling creation, the inward and outward signs of His ability, His power, and the signs He has scattered abroad in the realm of the earth and the heavens. This kind of reflection increases your knowledge of the essence of the that of Allah, the wajh of Allah Ta'ala. And this is the kind of reflection we're about to do, that he calls the noblest. But your intention is everything, my dear brothers and sisters. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Don't just go there to look at how beautiful the trees are. And the trees will be beautiful. Don't just go looking to see how beautiful the lakes are. The lake is, and the lake is beautiful. Go there with the intention to know Allah. To know Allah. Because everything in creation is radiating La ilaha illallah. This kind of reflection increases your knowledge of the essence, attributes, and names of God. He has encouraged it by saying, say, look at what is in the heavens and the earth. قُلْ فَانْظِرُوا مَاذَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. You yourself are one of the wondrous creations He has made, and you should therefore reflect on yourself. For He has said, in the earth are signs for those who have certainty, and in yourselves, can you not see? أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. And I learned this, from my Shaykh, Shaykh Iqad al-Haddad, who's in Atlanta, who's actually from the family of Imam al-Haddad. And if you come to Atlanta, I'll take you to visit him, inshallah ta'ala. All right? But he taught me this. He said, because I asked him, I actually asked him, I said, how do you meditate? What do you meditate on? He said, you meditate on yourself. You start with yourself. What creation is greater than you? And then, he went on, and then he started crying. He started weeping. He bent down, and he picked up a grain of sand, and he said, this is me. He said, this is me. And one day, my body is going to return to this. And he just started crying. So reflect on yourself, on the wondrous miracles that are in your body, in the systems, in your cellular systems, in your circulatory, in your digestive, in your reproductive, in your digestive systems, in the neurons, and your senses, and your extrasensory organs, and all of the things that make you a human being, and your body, mind, and soul. Know that you must reflect on the favors of God and His bounties which He has caused to reach you. He has said, remember the favors of God so that you may succeed. Should you attempt to number the favors of God, you will not be able to do so. All good things that you possess are from God. This kind of reflection results in the heart filling with the love of God and continuously rendering thanks to Him inwardly and outwardly in a manner that pleases and satisfies Him. Know that you should reflect on God's complete awareness of you. We're going to do this tomorrow morning, inshallah. For those of you who are able to make it for Fajr, we're going to do muraqabah of Allah's awareness of us tomorrow. It's very beneficial. So please be here if you're able. And His seeing and knowing all about you. We have created man and we know what his soul whispers to him, and we are nearer to him than his carotid artery. He is with you wherever you may be, and God sees what you do. And have you not seen that God knows what is in the heavens and the earth, and no three persons converse that he is their fourth, and no five persons but that He is their sixth? This kind of reflection results in your feeling ashamed before God should He see you where He has forbidden you to be, or miss you where He has commanded you to be. All right, so these are all verses of the Quran that he's reading, that he's mentioning, that you use in your reflection, the way that we used Surah Al-Fatiha yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon. All right, so those of you who are not reading your books, you can't see, you may not know that, you may or you may not know that these are ayats that I'm reading before he explains the benefit of that meditation. Every ayah can be meditated on, but each ayah gives you a different fruit of meditation. And this is what the Imam is sharing with us. Know that you must reflect on your shortcomings and worshiping your Lord, and you're exposing yourself to His wrath should you do what He has forbidden you. He has said in the Quran, I created jinn and men only to worship me. Also, do you think that we created you in vain, and that to us you will not be returned? O mankind, what is it that you have that has deceived you concerning your generous Lord? And, O mankind, you should surely toil towards your Lord, your Rabb, laboriously, and you shall meet Him. So the Imam says, this kind of meditation increases your fear of God, encourages you to blame and reproach yourself, to avoid remissness, and persevere in your zeal. There is a healthy fear of Allah that we should have. But the fear of Allah is not a fear that takes you away from Allah. The fear of Allah is a fear that causes you to run to Him. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Flee to Allah. That verb in Arabic, fir, فَرْيَفِرُّ, is used to describe a child rushing into his or her mother's arms, fleeing from some danger. So the fear of God is not a fear that's supposed to make you distant from Allah, to make you not want to be around Allah. It's a fear that's supposed to push you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we'll read one more paragraph, inshallah ta'ala. Know that you must reflect on this worldly life, its numerous preoccupations and hazards, and the swiftness with which it perishes, and reflect on the afterlife and its felicity and permanence. God the Exalted has said, thus does God render the signs clear to you, so that you may reflect on this world and the afterlife. But you prefer the life of the world, when the afterlife is better and more abiding. And the life of the world is but distraction and play, while the last abode, the ultimate abode, is indeed the life, it's the true life, if they but knew. This kind of reflection results in losing all desire for the world and in wishing for the afterlife. So inshallah, we're going to stop here, and tomorrow, inshallah, we're going to finish reading this chapter. We just have a page or so. And so we'll finish reading it tomorrow morning after Fajr, and we will also do muraqabah of Allah's awareness of us. And are there any questions before we go? Any questions about what we read? I just want to say, these verses of the Quran, use them in your meditation. Okay? If you know the Arabic, use the Arabic. Even if you don't understand the Arabic, use it, because your soul understands the Arabic. Arabic is the closest language to the language of the soul. It's very similar to music. And if you don't know the verses in Arabic, then memorize them in English. Memorize them in English and use them for your meditation practice, inshallah ta'ala. So what we're going to do now is we're going to meet outside. Okay, the brothers and the sisters will meet and turn off your phones. Don't take notes on your phones, please. Leave your phones here or in your pocket. Please turn them off. There's to be no talking whatsoever from now until we return. Just a quick vote. Who would like to pray Asr at the lake? Okay, we'll pray Asr at the lake. Maulana, is that okay? Okay. And those who can't, then you can just pray back here, inshallah ta'ala. Do you have a question, Sidi? Did you have a question?
Yesterday I asked you to remind me about the 3 points that God put on.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's just say that, I'll just go over that very, very quickly. This morning we're talking about da'wah and Islam in America and culture. And I was just sharing, as you pack up, I just want to share this. I was just sharing that Dr. Omar mentioned the secret of the successful propagation of Islam in Indonesia and Malaysia. And he said that one of the first secrets for the successful propagation of Islam in that part of the world, and why it's one of the most populous places for Muslims in the world, is number one, the character that the Muslims embodied who went there. The ones from Yemen and the ones who embraced Islam, they did not cheat people in the marketplace, they did not lie, they did not do things that were destructive to the people. That's number one. Number two, they would teach the people and entertain the people using shadow plays. So they would have shadow plays. A shadow play is a screen, and you have like little puppets, like paper puppets or silhouettes, and you tell a story, you know. If you watch Karate Kid, the one with Will Smith and his son, there was a shadow play in the movie, right? And they would teach the Buddhists and the Hindus and the Taoists that were there about the Prophet ﷺ and the other prophets and messengers, the Sahaba and the saints, using shadow plays. So they were educating them and entertaining them at the same time. In hip-hop, we call it edutainment. And the third thing they did was the Muslims taught the Buddhists and the Taoists and the Hindus a better way to grow rice. They taught them a more effective way of feeding their families. And for those of them who were rice farmers as a trade, as a profession, they showed them a way to make more money. And what I tell people when I travel is we have to take these principles. We have to exhibit the best character we can as Muslims. That is what convinces people. That is what wins people's hearts. They don't care how religious you are. How do you treat people? We have to we have to entertain people with wholesome entertainment that awakens their minds and their spirits in a way that's non-confrontational and that they enjoy. We have to find ways to do this using the media of our time. And lastly, we have to find creative ways to empower the people around us financially. It's not enough. I hear it at so many conferences, and the Muslims in America are the most educated and wealthy Muslims in the world. Muslims and we're like, subhanallah, mashallah, mashallah. Allah's blessed us. But how is that wealth benefiting others? Are we showing other people how to become wealthy? Are we showing other people how to become educated? Everyone here can go to a juvenile detention center and teach people how to read. That opens up a whole new universe to people. These are the kinds of things that we need to be doing. This is how Islam spreads. If I'm telling you, I guarantee you, with Allah's permission, if we would just, and I'm talking to myself first and foremost, if we would just implement the rights of the neighbor in our communities. And you could take Imam Malik's position, don't take Imam Shafi's. Imam Malik's position was your neighbor is 10 houses in front, 10 houses behind, 10 houses to the right, 10 houses to the left. Those are your neighbors. Imam Shafi said 40, because they took the hadith about the 40 houses, but they understood it different ways. Those 10 people, make sure that they're not hungry. And except that you feed them. Make sure that they're not sick, except that you visit them or give them medicine, or make sure that you're praying for them. Make sure that they're not of want for clothing or for any need. Mow their lawn. Take them gifts, just your neighbors. I guarantee if we do that, I can tell you a story about Muslims in, I think it's Norway. No, it was in Denmark. After the whole cartoon thing, there was some Muslims who just started inviting their neighbors over for tea. They started a whole movement based on inviting people over for tea. And the whole country changed their perception of Muslims. And in fact, the Queen of Denmark came to this house of this couple. They're an Indo-Pakistani couple that started this. She came to their house to have tea. And they actually made an official proclamation for the whole country that there was a national tea day in honor of the Muslims. This is how you change people. You can have all the conferences on eradicating Islamophobia you want. People don't care about that. Alhamdulillah. So let's go outside, inshallah ta'ala. Thanks for reminding me, Sidi. Let's go outside. Please silent walk. When we get to the lake, please, brothers, keep walking, and so that we have one side of the lake. Sisters, keep walking. You'll have the side that we leave for you. When you sit, face the lake. Try to leave as much space as you can between you and other people. Ideally, I like to do this so you can't see or hear anyone else, but that's almost impossible, with where we're going. But focus on the ayat of Allah Ta'ala and taking everything in. Now.